"Don't move," the voice growled, deep and sharp as the barrel of a gun pressed against the side of Tiana's head. Her chest heaved, her palms slick with sweat against the steering wheel. Red and blue lights flashed in the rearview mirror, casting jagged beams across the deserted road. The officer's shadow loomed beside her, tall and heavy, his breath hot and menacing through the open window. It had started as a simple drive home from her late shift at the diner. Now it felt like she was caught in a nightmare she couldn't wake from. Tiana didn't dare turn her head. She kept her eyes locked on the cracked asphalt ahead, forcing her voice not to tremble. "Officer, what do you want from me?" A low chuckle. "Funny you should ask. You want the truth? I don't want you testifying." Her blood froze. The trial, the one she had been summoned for in just 3 days. She had witnessed something no one else dared to, 2 white deputies beating a black teen outside an abandoned gas station. They hadn't seen her in the shadows that night, but her phone had recorded everything. She had given her statement. She thought the hardest part was over. "You keep your mouth shut," the officer hissed, "or I'll make sure this road is the last place anyone sees you." Her mind raced. The street was empty. No cars, no houses, just dark trees swallowing the horizon. She had to survive, had to think fast. I deleted the video," she whispered, her voice shaking just enough to sound convincing. The officer leaned closer, his face now visible under the pulsing red-blue light. He was older, his pale skin weathered, his jaw set tight. His eyes narrowed, cold and sharp. "You really expect me to believe that?" Tiana swallowed hard. "Check my phone if you don't believe me." She eased it slowly from her pocket, praying he wouldn't notice the tiny blinking red dot at the top of her screen. Her emergency recording app had been running for the last 3 minutes. His threats, his face, his voice, all of it was being captured. The officer snatched the phone, scrolling furiously. He scowled when he saw nothing in the gallery. She had transferred the evidence days ago. "Where's the file?" he demanded, her pulse hammered. "Gone. I told you." His lip curled, suspicion darkening his features. He shoved the phone into his pocket and yanked the door open. "Out, now." Tiana's legs felt like lead as she stepped onto the gravel shoulder. The night air bit at her skin, cool and sharp, as though the world itself was holding its breath. He forced her toward the trees, the gun never wavering. The crunch of gravel gave way to the softer rustle of leaves underfoot. Every step carried her farther from the faint safety of the road, deeper into isolation. "This doesn't have to happen," she said, her voice breaking. "You don't have to do this." "Yes, I do," he said flatly. "Because if you speak, men like me lose everything." Her stomach twisted. His words weren't just about this case. They were about power, about a system built on silence and fear. Then faintly, she heard it, the low rumble of an engine in the distance. Headlights flashing between the trees. A car was coming down the road. Her window. With a surge of adrenaline, she twisted, slamming her elbow into his side. He grunted, staggering a step, but his grip didn't loosen. The gun jerked upward. A shot cracked through the night, birds scattering from the branches above. Tiana ran. Her feet tore over roots and leaves, her lungs burning as she sprinted toward the glow of headlights. Behind her, his footsteps thundered in pursuit, heavy and furious. "Stop!" he roared. Another shot rang out, grazing the bark inches from her shoulder. She burst through the tree line, stumbling onto the asphalt just as a delivery truck barreled into view. She flailed her arms, screaming, "Help! Please!" The truck screeched to a halt, tires shrieking. The driver, a burly man in his 50s, jumped out, eyes wide as he saw her terror. Before she could speak, the officer emerged from the trees, his badge raised high. "She's a suspect!" he barked. "Step back!" But his voice cracked, not with authority, but desperation. The driver hesitated, then shook his head firmly. Not buying it. He pulled out his phone, camera recording. "Say that again, officer." The officer froze, eyes darting between the phone, the headlights, and Tiana's trembling figure. For the first time, he seemed small. Sirens wailed in the distance. Backup. Tiana's SOS recording had gone through. The officer cursed under his breath, lowering the gun just as 2 squad cars roared onto the scene. Officers from a neighboring district leapt out, weapons drawn, ordering him to the ground. Tiana collapsed to her knees, sobbing with relief as the corrupt officer was handcuffed, his threats finally powerless. The good officers helped her to her feet, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders, her whole body shaking. "You're safe now," one said softly. Safe. The word echoed in her mind, but she knew it wasn't just about her anymore. She thought of the boy she had seen beaten, of her grandmother's words about courage, of every silence that had stretched over her community like a wound. As dawn broke and the first light spilled across the empty road, Tiana made a silent vow. They could try to bury the truth, to frighten her into silence, but she would not vanish. Her voice would carry louder than their lies, stronger than their hate, and this time she knew the world would hear her.